going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Campfire Stories Lancashire. And I brought back the South African accent today by popping at the one of our viewers. I do apologise, sir, I can't remember your name off the top of my head, but you said that you're a little boy watched my videos and you wanted to see more of the South African accent, so we're back. I hope we're all doing alright today. Sorry I've not been in touch for a while. I've been so busy working and I'll get more into that later. I've not done a wild camp this month just because we're well and truly in winter now, and as you can see all around me, it's been snowing again. Tell you, we don't get much weather like this down in South Africa. Yeah, it's been snowing again, and the weather doesn't bother me as such, but when you do the winter camps and it's dark, like I said last time I was with you, the daylight hours in winter are very brief, very brief, and you're stuck in your tent for a long time, and it's just not as, it's always good, but it's just not as fun as say in spring and summer when there's more daylight hours and you can hike around for longer, get your tent pitched up late, get tucked into a couple of cold beers, go to sleep. So anyway, today's video, I'm going to take you back to basics. We're going to have a good talk about Bigfoot. We don't get much to talk about Bigfoot in South Africa, not that I know of anyway. But obviously here in the UK, we have the wood roofs. Oliver's, of course, kept you very entertained with videos about that subject for the last 3 years. And yeah, we're going to talk about the British Bigfoot today, and just Bigfoot in general. Got some very interesting pictures I want to share with you all. So yeah, if you would like to hear my thoughts, my most up-to-date thoughts on a subject that's very passionate to me, Bigfoot, please stick around. Yeah, sorry I've not been in touch for a while with you all Bigfoots and boggarts. Just out for a nice walk today, really. Like I mentioned in the intro, I've not done a camp this month, and I'm not going to, because I've said it a few times now. I've done these like early night camps, if you will. Technically the other one I did in winter was my last one at the start of the winter solstice, and to be fair, this month it's not been particularly suitable camping weather. We've had a lot of rain, a few cold snaps, as you can see. We've got some snow at the moment, and obviously weather doesn't particularly bother me as such. I can prepare for the weather, but when you're stuck in your tent, from half-4 onwards, and it's pitch black, can't get a fire going, it's just not as good, so I've just been focusing mainly on work, going to the gym, my fitness. I want to try and lose a little bit of weight and get into a better shape for when I do the Cumbria Way, hopefully in April. Yeah. So the walk I'm on today is the one that I did barefoot back in summer, I guess. Yeah, it's from my house through Billinge, through all these lovely farm fields, and then you get to Horton Towers, the bottom of it, come back around past the viaduct into Pleasanton, and if I'm still feeling a bit strong, I might go to Fenniscole's ruins and maybe end the video there. So yeah, just out for a nice walk today, like I say, and you know, I've done loads of camping videos recently. When I look at me list of videos, it's just bushcraft, wildcamp, and I'm like, I've not spoken about Bigfoot for a while. So, obviously, don't get me wrong, I am still in love with Bigfoot. I'm still massively passionate about this subject. You know, and I've had a few friends who've, you know, like come round to my house recently to look at my animals, and obviously we get talking about Bigfoot. So, yeah, I think we might be due a bit of a refresh on things that I find interesting about Bigfoot. Some of the good questions that they've asked me recently. You know, because Millie says to me sometimes when I'm like, you know, I really feel like I've said everything I need to say about Bigfoot over the last 3 years. And she's like, no. Shout out Millie, by the way. She's like, no. Just say it again. That's the content we want, Oliver. We just want you to talk about Bigfoot over and over again. So I will talk about Bigfoot again. With that in mind, I've got a couple of quite interesting pictures that I've seen over the last couple of weeks, and I thought I'll keep hold of them, and then when I get around to doing a video about Bigfoot we can talk about them. So here we go. First picture, you know, as you can see, it's a bipedal figure, hair covered possibly, lighting's a bit low on it, so it's a bit hard to really get a good look at what this, you know, thing is, whatever it is. It does have the sort of classic broad shoulders and conical head that you would expect of a Bigfoot type creature. You can kind of get a decent look at the face. It's stood in a forest, it's got bracken fern around it. There's a few little things that sort of alarm bells that go off about this picture when I look at it. Well, that dog, shut up. No. Yeah, a few things that go off as an alarm bell about me about this picture. For a start, is the bracken fern. You know, bracken fern can grow quite tall. To be fair, you know, you talk when it's really at its height. You know, 4 foot, maybe 5 foot. You know, and you know, obviously, as we know, Bigfoots, Sasquatch, whatever. You know, on average, they range from about 7 to 10 foot. So even if this is a smaller creature, potentially, those ferns are a fair way up in comparison to its height. So I'm not too sure. I would think a Bigfoot type creature would tower over those ferns, but who knows? Maybe they're just like XL size ferns. Who the heck knows? Another thing as well, the gait and the look of the objects in this photo, it looks eerily similar to a model that makes its rounds on the internet of Bigfoot. You know, you can buy this model online, and as you can see in the comparison there, I don't know if you guys agree with me, it looks quite similar. So I'm kind of leaning more on the fence with this photo, thinking maybe it's some sort of hoax. I mean, I'm no whiz with the computer myself. I'm not a graphic designer. Millie is. Shout out Millie. But maybe you could work some trickery with photo editor to get you know, an image of that model in that sort of setting and mess around with lighting. I don't know. Interesting picture nonetheless, but I'm not too sure that it's the genuine article. Picture number 2. For context, I believe this photo comes from Germany. which is interesting because, you know, we spoke about it a little while ago, how, you know, Europe have their own, you know, wild man variation, bit different, bit different than ours. Although, not to get political, technically we're not in Europe anymore, are we? But anyway, you know, such a through Germany, and you know, up into Switzerland, they've got like a Neanderthal type creature that frequents those, you know, remote regions apparently. And when you look at, you know, the object in this photograph, particularly its face, it does look very man-like. Obviously it's carrying a log, fallen tree, whatever. To be fair, it could just be me that in, you know, 20 years time, when I've sort of absconded from society and decided to go and live out in the wild permanently. To be fair, but no, it does look very man-like in its face, but it's covered in hair, appears to be barefoot. If I'm honest, again, not to be skeptical Simon or whatever, skeptical Stephen, skeptical Sally, let's go, you know, let's not exclude genders out of skepticism. Looks a bit animated to me, this figure, you know, a bit CGI-ish, a bit cartoonish, I don't know. But yeah, I watched a video a little while ago where they spoke about this image, and, you know, the alleged eyewitness who took this photograph said that this being lived up in a cave on the side of this mountain, and it was seen, you know, regularly scaling this cave, this mountain, a bit like a rock climber or whatever. So I don't know. It's a cool picture, don't get me wrong. You know, Bigfoot type creature moving around a fallen tree. It is cool, but I'm not too sure if it's real or not. Photo number 3. Admittedly, what I do like about this picture the most is the fact that, you know, this bipedal, you know, creature, whatever it is, might be Bigfoot, might not be, it stood in water. So straight away, that gives you decent scale to try and work out the height, the gait, is this legit, etc, etc. Because as I've spoken about this before, you know, there was that great little piece of footage of that, you know, auburn coloured Bigfoot type creature that was walking knee high in water quite fluidly. You know, to me there was no disputing what that creature was. It wasn't a bear. If it was a person in a suit, Spielberg, get on him and get him in a film, get him in your next creature feature, because, you know, that's some mad skills, wading through water that fluidly at that height. And again, I'm talking from personal experience because I've done the suit walk, guys, as you know, bigs and bogs. I've walked around in a suit before for all your amusement, and it's not as easy as it looks for these people who do hoaxes in suits. It's so blinking obvious because, you know, footage of Bigfoot type creatures, when it's good and legit, it's good. Do you know what I mean? Like the way they walk, there's no creature that walks like them on planet Earth with the bent knees and the hunched shoulder, arms swaying at the side. You know, they do it over numerous terrain all across the world. We spoke about this all before. I just want to refresh you all on it. So when it's something stood in water, it does pique your interest and think, well, you know, if something stood that comfortably in water, it can rule out very quickly the possibility of it being a hoax, of a person in a suit. Maybe it's a misidentification, maybe it's a mangy bear stood up, you know, wading around for fish in a shallow creek bed. Possibly, you know, this figure in this photo, it's very, very clear it is bipedal. You know, I know bears do stand up on their hind legs, but the main mass of a bear is its, you know, abdominal area, you know, torso and abdomen. The legs are very short. This looks like it has long legs. It's got a hunched, shoulder region. Doesn't really seem to exhibit a profiled, distinct neck region as such. Again, very typical of a Bigfoot is that they don't have pronounced necks like we do. The trapezius muscles in the shoulder extend up, to the back of the head, and they're just a solid mass. And again, legit photos and videos of Bigfoot type creatures, they can't turn their necks like we do when they're seen. They rotate their whole body because they don't have that dexterity in their neck like we do. So yeah, very interesting photo. Again, I'm not going to 100% say that is a Bigfoot, but come on, it's a Bigfoot. We all know it. Could be a mangy bear, but I'm leaning more on towards the fantastical side here. I think that's a Bigfoot, guys. So there you go. There are my pictures I've got to share with you today. But we're not done yet. Like I say, I just want to chat nonsense about Bigfoot for a few minutes, because I haven't done it for a while. I've said it before, when I go camping, wild camping, I don't often think about it, bigs and bogs. I don't often think about Bigfoot, dogmen, UFOs, all that paranormal clobber that I'm into. And I'm kind of glad of it, really, because my wild camping, as we know, it's become such a pivotal part of who I am, and I depend on it really to keep me my thought box in check. So if I were camping and 8-foot tall bipedal hairy person walked up to my tent and screamed at me, oh thank you. Who knows, maybe maybe I'd be like, alright, wagwan. Come here, come and have a few cans of Northern Monk with me. Who knows? No, come on, I wouldn't. I'd shit myself, just like the rest of us. So yeah, I've had a couple of friends who I've seen recently, and one of them brought me some stick insects last weekend for my collection. My mate Gemma, shout out Gemma, she came down for a couple of hours with her little boys, and we got talking about Bigfoot, because they were going to Australia next month for a month holiday, and I said, oh, Australia's got its own Bigfoot. Whoa. The Yowie, which we've spoke about many a time on this channel. And the kids were like, Bigfoot, can we go Bigfoot hunting? My friend Gemma, very, very intelligent woman, very I think very open-minded to the paranormal and stuff like that. And we had a really good chat about Bigfoot, and there were no sort of proverbial eye rolls as such, because I can tell with people whenever I talk about this subject, they'll either take me on quickly because they're interested, or they'll shut it down because they're either not interested, and fair play, not everybody's interested in Bigfoot, or in my humble opinion, they cannot wrap their head around the fact that we have a bipedal race of hominids that exists on this planet in remote pockets of nature that go by many names, and they've been reported over thousands of years. Yeah. And it's a shame, because I wish more people would be more open-minded to this subject, and then it would get such a bad rep, because I've been hearing a lot of reports recently of angry Bigfoot type creatures, a lot of attacks, a lot of people disappearing, and I'm like, no, do not point the finger of blame at my beloved hairy friends. I mean, I've said it before about rogue Bigfoots potentially going a bit cuckoo and logging some of us off, because again, people who've seen these creatures really good sightings up close, they all sort of agree, if these things wanted to make you disappear, it wouldn't take much effort because of how fast and strong they are. So yeah, but like, I was talking about, in this country, if it's a flesh and blood creature, if it's finite, You know, she was asking me what do they eat. Anything they want. Anything they want. Granted, this time of year we're in winter. You know, all the edible food groups, they're scarce. You know, there's still stuff that you can forage. But, you know, until we get to March, April, those edible food groups, they're scarce. And I think predominantly that is what, you know, Bigfoot type creatures diet on. I think they eat edible food groups, your berries, your mushrooms, your plantains, things like that. And, you know, raw crude protein, like, you know, animal meat, that's going to be the diet at this time of year, when those edible food groups that you can forage are scarce on the ground. So yeah, that was my answer to a very good question, you know. And she was saying, well, how many is there? You know, and I said, well, again, flesh and blood, finite organism that dies someday. If, you know, obviously the UK, hey, oh, are these cows starting on me? We're about to find out. Either I'll carry on talking about Bigfoot, or this will be the last time you ever see me. Yeah, if it's a flesh and blood creature, we spoke about the population density model before. With us being a tiny island, there's not a lot of room to support a large creature as such, unless it's you know, we've alluded to before, very stealthy. Oh crikey, look at these bigs and bogs, they're starting on me. Hold thought on Bigfoot for the moment. I'm going to do something a bit stupid here and walk past these cows. Hopefully they don't kill me. Hey up there, Gum. What's up? Bye, Gum. Can I come past, please? Come on. Come on. Oh Christ, that is a bull. It's got massive horns on it. I just shit myself then. Go on. Be on with you. I don't want to leather you. Log you off permanently. I just walked right up to a bull. Mate, this is dicey. Dicey, spicy, ricey. I know what I'm doing. Animal professional, me. Come on. Come on, move. Move. I need to get past you. Come on, big fella. That wasn't too bad, was it? Alright, I'm going. And just around the corner here is my little bench where I have my picnic. So yeah, we'll get back to Bigfoot in a minute. That was a real, I had to be focused then. They could have locked, that bull could have locked me off. Alright. See you in a bit. I got to my picnic bench. There were people sat there. I've got to find somewhere now relatively dry to sit my bottom down, and then I can have a bit of clobber and some coffee. To be honest with you, I really should have just picked him up by the scruff of the necks and been like, get out of here. You know who I am? I'm the Blackman Bigfoot, mate. But they were all APs, so I might have killed them. Don't want to be doing that, really. Heron. lob heron. See, that brings us back to Bigfoot. When people never get crystal clear good images of them, we know that, I know that is a heron, and it stood, I guess, what, 200 foot away from me. I'm just looking at it now, zoomed in on my camera. Most people, like when people say, you know, like, well, everybody has a camera these days, why can't anybody capture a good photo of one? There's two reasons. Number one, I've just shown you there, phone cameras, yeah, they're good, but they're not, you know, National Geographic level of camera quality, where they can zoom in, you know, 1,000 metres and still be a crystal clear image. You zoom in on a phone, the further you zoom in, the more pixelated it becomes. So, you know, I think most Bigfoot sightings, they happen from a distance. People do try and catch it on camera, and that's the result. That's your first reason why you don't get good pictures of them. Second reason, I said this before, I'm repeating myself again, because people aren't getting the message. If you walked around the corner of your house and you were confronted by a 7 to 8 foot tall, you know, in excess of maybe 1,000 pounds, tall, hairy man, and he's just stood looking at you, he's looking right through you, your first instinct, oh, I know, let me get my phone out and take a picture. No, you're going to shit yourself. You probably might even have a heart attack on the spot, or you'd leg it. You're not going to start videoing these things because your survival instinct kicks in. This is something in our worldview, in our, you know, first worldview. We're not taught about it at schools like we are other wildlife. You know, this is something that you go out and research yourself if you're interested in it. But it's not really in our mainstream culture as such, particularly in the UK. And if it is, you know, it's sort of laughed at, you know, taken with a bit of, what's the word I'm looking for? You know, you see newspaper articles about it, and they really do take the piss out of it. You know, it's not taken seriously. You know, so with that in mind, if you see one of these creatures, your whole world view is suddenly exploded because there's something there that shouldn't exist. It's not taught to us to exist, and they do. Make no mistake about it, piece of bum. They are real. So yeah, I really could talk about this all day. We all know that. I'm getting hungry, and this video will end up being 2 hours long, but maybe even longer. So yeah, I think I'm going to shut up about Bigfoot now for the time being. Alas, biggies and boggies, reached the end of another adventure. Made it to the old Fenniscoles Manor house, so I'm going to have some coffee and a bit of scram, and then I'm going to skedaddle. It is. Remember this place, eh? If I'm feeling lols, I might go into the cellars. We'll see if I can gas. So I'm going to walk back along the canal back home. So I've still got about 1.5 miles, 2 miles to go yet. So I'll recharge my batteries here and then see how I feel. But yeah, got a bit carried away with the Bigfoot chatter, which ain't a bad thing. I spoke about Bigfoot for a while. Nearly got murdered by some cows. Just a standard day in the life of campfire stories, like you really. When will I see you again? I'm not sure. Like I say, I've kind of look at them there. So you get down into them cellars, which we've been down before a while ago. In fact, I don't think I've been here since then, to be honest with you. But yeah, when will I see you again? Like I said, I've kind of binned off camping for January. I've got a bit of time coming up a bit of time off coming up, I should say, in February, because I've been working like a dog recently, picking up loads of overtime. So because at weight rota works, because I've accumulated more than my contracted hours, I'll end up with some time off. So I might do a multi-day camp locally in February. I'm not really sure yet. See how I feel. Weather depending again, because this month the rain is just, we've had some, the reservoirs are full again, I'll put it that way. Reservoirs are full because of how much rain we've had, and yeah, I'm going to start tangenting again, aren't I? I've not been camping this month. I'm not going camping this month. Just going to focus on training for the Cumbria Way when we get to April. And I might go camping next month at some point, so that's probably when I'll see you next. If you've made it through to the end of the video, as always, God bless you. You're a saint and a scholar, putting up with my harsh Blackburn accent. Yeah, leave us a comment if you want, if you've got any thoughts about Bigfoot yourself. Subscribe if you want to, you don't have to, it's just one of them, and I'll see you all further on down the road. Bye bye.